Living a life of gratitude is what every believer should embrace. There's something about being cheerful always. The Bible speaking in the book of First Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 18, he said, "Be grateful in all things, for this is the will of God concerning your life." So the will of God for our life is to be grateful, is to be cheerful, is to show gratitude at every point in time. So this year, I want to intentionally take record of everything God will be doing in my life. I want to record them because I just record that keeping record of what God has done has a way of making you remain cheerful. It has a way of building your faith in a difficult time, because when you remember how He has delivered you in the past, it has a way of building your faith to face the present situation. So this is my jar of gratitude. In this jar, I write down everything I'm grateful for on weekly basis and I put them here. My intention is by the end of this year, on the 31st of December 2025, I'm going to open this jar and read out every single thing I have written in here. Imagine how amazing that will be. The truth is that God is faithful and He always delivers us. But sometimes we forget what He has done. We forget His deliverances. We forget how He has come through for us in the past. And when we forget that, it makes us murmur or complain when we find ourselves in a difficult situation. But when we keep record or when you remember what He has done in the past, He has a way of building your faith and reassuring you that if He can do that, if He can deliver you in the past, then this present situation, He will still come true. I remember the book of Exodus on the account of the Israelites. When God brought them out of Egypt, led them through the Red Sea and parted the Red Sea, they walked through the dry ground. When they got to the wilderness and they started facing some challenges, there was no water for them to drink, they automatically forgot that God Himself, through His mighty works and hand, has brought them out of the land of Egypt, parted the Red Sea, they passed through it, and He drowned the enemy in that same Red Sea that they walked on the dry ground and passed. But because they are now facing challenges, there is no water for them to drink, they were thirsty, they started murmuring, they started complaining. They forgot that that same God that led them through the Red Sea can still provide water for them. And this is where most of us as Christians find ourselves. Most time we tend to forget what God has done for us in the past. And because you are facing a challenge now, you begin to murmur and complain. "Oh God, you have forgotten me. You are not coming through this time. I am suffering. I am this." And you forgot that that same God delivered you from a worse situation than the one you're passing now. You see, and when you see how God speaks to them and remind them, "I am the God that brought you out of the land of Egypt." That shows you that God wants us to remind Him of what He has done for us. He wants us to remind Him of so many times He has delivered us. And one thing about reminding God of that is that it builds our faith. It helps us remain strong. It reassures us that if God can do that for us in the past, He will also come through in this present situation. But when you don't take account of what God is doing in your life, when you don't keep record of what He is doing, you are bound to complain. You are bound to murmur like the children of Israel. I was just so surprised when I was reading that book of Exodus. Like, these people, is it that they forgot that this God brought them out of the land of Egypt? This same God has been protecting them in the wilderness, built a pillar of cloud and a pillar of fire to protect them. And just because there is no water, they are now complaining and murmuring. That is how forgetful we human beings can be. That when we are faced with a challenge, we automatically forget what God has done in the past for us and we begin to murmur. We begin to complain. God doesn't like it. Yes, God wants us to remain grateful. At all times, He wants us to remind Him of what He has done. He wants us to remind Him of things He has delivered us from. To me, I would say it has a way of, boosting God's ego, like, you did this for me in the past. What is this that you cannot do? So, keeping record of what God has done for us in the past has a way of building our faith, reassuring us that God is ever faithful to deliver us, irrespective of the challenges we are facing. You remember when David was faced with the Philistine, it made reference of how God delivered him from the hands of the bears and lions in the bush. And that boosted his morale that he has to refer to a giant that every other soldiers of the Israel were afraid of as the uncircumcised Philistine. That gave him the boldness that God will come through for him. So this is how far reminding God of what he has done can boost your faith in him. So pick up your own journal today and let's try this year. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time we drop video. If you think getting a journal of gratitude or jar of gratitude is something worth doing, please go ahead. Get your own. You'll be so amazed by the end of this year how God has come through for you. Honestly, you'll be so amazed by when you'll be reading everything out. You'll be so surprised on what God has done. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so grateful. See you next time. Bye.